Welcome to the Traveling Professors. I'm Professor Bob.
And I'm Professor Sherry.
And together we are
the Traveling Professors.
Welcome to show number 121. Today, Sherry and I will be taking you on a walking tour of the Mayan city of Kabah. This is part of the trip that we took to Uxmal. This will be the last part of it. The site of Kabah is on Federal Highway 261, which is approximately 140 kilometers or 87 miles south from Mérida, Yucatan towards Campeche. And the ruins actually will extend on both sides of the highway, but really only one side is really prepared for visits. The rest is still mainly archaeological digs. Now you can see on this map with all the Mayan ruins that Kabah is very close to Uxmal. It's actually connected by an 11-mile long raised causeway. It's about 16 feet wide with arches at each end. Kabah is the second largest ruin in this Puk region behind Uxmal. And then here you have a chart of what we're going to visit. Now as you can see in the bottom part here, this is part that's not really open. There are 17 plazas that they're still working on. They have restored one object, but this site is not open. I was allowed to go in there, take some pictures, and come back out. But we're going to be over here in this part on the top, which is the east side of the city, where the governor's palace is located, or the main leader's palace, and that then looks across the site. An aerial view of what you would see is here's the section what we're visiting, and then here is part of the new section that's being worked on. Actually, this whole area is being worked on. It runs much further than this, and I'll show you a map of that when we get towards the end. But you can actually see this great pyramid, which is still covered in brush, from where we're going to be visiting. So here is the entrance, very small entrance, little bitty building, and then there's a little video introduction and the initial sweep as we end up into the city.
Hi there, Professor Bob here and the Traveling Professors. Now we are at the Mayan town of Kabah, so let's enjoy our walkthrough.
So as we walk into the city, this is one of the first areas that we see. It's going to be the last one that we visit. This is the Palace of the Masks, where the facade is decorated with hundreds of stone masks, and it's also referred to as the Governor's Palace. And we'll look at the back of it first, then go around the side to the front plaza area. Then here we are in the main plaza, and we're going up to this building directly ahead. There's a sub-plaza in front of it, and then there's a regular plaza up here, and so we'll walk around to another building and then to the back of the Temple of the Governors. And here we are walking away from the visitor center in the bathroom area, and in this particular picture you can see just barely up here the Great Temple as it's being restored and worked on. So here we are about halfway to the area, and we're starting to see some buildings, and here we get a little bit closer. And then there's a little forum in the front here, what they call the sub forum or sub plaza, with a room back behind these pillars, and we come up to the main set of steps to go up to the main plaza. And here we are looking down the row of the buildings, and then here we are right at the top, and you can see the wall with the collapsed building in the sub plaza region. And then here's a video of a panning of the main plaza at the top that we were at. Before we go and look at the little individual sections of this main plaza up here, this is a good opportunity to view the main building here and give you a little more background. Now, the name Kabah was originally suggested in 1846 by Estancilo Carrillo, and it's taken from the actual Mayan archaic language, which means strong hand. There is a pre-Columbian name actually for the site. It's mentioned in the book of Chilen Balim of Shumala. And it's alternatively either Kabah or Kabawakan, which would break down to the royal snake in the hand. And this area was inhabited about the 3rd century, mid-3rd century BCE. And the last architectural additions were made about 987 AD. There's a couple of lintels, which are the openings, doorways to buildings, that they've been able to get dates from. One dated from 879 AD, and the other one, or the latest one, the last one they have, is 987. So looking across, we're in the main plaza. We have this little area here with this pillar, and this plaza looks directly westward across the rest of the city. It's a little closer view of the little pillar. Now we're going to go off to the side and look at this row of buildings. So here's the end structure. And in the middle we have a little archway with openings. And if you look at the opening here, you see the pink rock with carvings on it. And then this is a closer view of what was it. You can't go in there, but you can zoom your lens. And then this is the last enclosure of that one section of buildings. Now, one of the problems we have here is this site structures are numbered. They're still basically, it's not like going to where we've been to Uxmal and Chichen Itza, and they have names other than the one with the mask. So we're actually looking at structures 2B1, 3. There's a structure 2C1, 4, and 5. Then structures 2C2, 2C3, 2C6, and 2C7. And of course the main one we'll be going to is called 3B1. So it's a little bit confusing. So I'm sorry I'm not able to give you a name for a lot of these structures. And you come to the end of that one set of buildings, and then you'll see it's not the jungle, but the brush in the background. And I would assume you were to move that, you'd find more buildings. So now we're going to walk by the central building. So this is the edge, and then this is looking down, and you can see the arch under the steps going up. And again, there's a building in here, and this is believed to be part of a temple structure. A little closer view of the archway. Up the main steps, can't go up the steps. And then from the main steps, we're looking back out towards where we came in. And then this is a building, probably a temple, off to the other side. And now we're walking past that. And what we're going to be doing is, since we can't climb up there, we're actually heading to the back side of the Temple of the Masks. So we go around the corner, and then this is where we can start climbing up. This is the back side of the building known as the Temple of the Masks.
Of that building. When they restore the building, they will bring it back, because they will be the dead. When they be all 70. I don't know the idea how to take it that far to show people.
Now here we are at the corner of the building, which is the Temple of the Masks, and we're going into the back side. So we're going to go this direction to the left, and then once we're finished there, then we will come back and go straight on and then get into the main plaza in front of this building. So here is the stonework along the lower levels. And you say, where does all the stone come from? It's everywhere in this region of Mexico. And then this is the spot where you have the back building temple, and you can see we can go up the steps here, and we actually get a chance to go into this building. Now this is an interesting structure because it has these men on the side here. You can see one that has the whole body and head, and then other missing the head. And then inside of that building, there's a little closer view of the characters there on the wall. And then when you go inside the building, there are little areas, niches, but this one section here, we've got this beautiful carving, and I'll show you that in just a second. But let's go into the building and look around. So here is another one of the niches off to the side, and then here is the carvings on this particular entrance area, and they're all along the wall as well. So once we finished here, we begin heading to go around. But this is the other temple that we saw from the other plaza. From the front, they've kind of restored that, but you can see what it looks like unrestored on this section. So there's a lot of work that's being done in this region. And then here's a view from up here on high of the main plaza. That's the steps where we came into the area and all the little buildings around it. So now we're heading down this. Well, it's 3 feet wide. It's not that hazardous. Just don't make a mistake. That's all. It is a little bit of a drop going down. Well, we're right in the main plaza in front of the Palace of the Masks. So here is a video panning of this plaza.
I'm sorry, honey. Just tell me to get out of your shop.
Here is the glorious Palace of the Masks. Now the facade is decorated with hundreds of stone masks of long-nosed rain god chalk. It's also known as Code's Pop, meaning rolled matting, from the pattern of the stone mosaics. This is a massive repetition of a single set of elements that is unusual in Mayan art, and here produced to unique effect. Now let's get a little closer view of that artwork. So here we are. It's about as close as I could get, and you can see the noses on chalk along the sides here. There's a closer view of it. Our guide said that they just finished restoring this. It took them over a year, and you see part of the building in the background. And then here we have an example of a temple that is not in the process of being reconstructed. They've just cleared it off at this point. And then in the middle, you see this round area. This is a chun. This is a ceremonial chun for chalk, since this is a major temple area for the rain god. And so this is the underground cistern. There are quite a few of these throughout Kabah, because this is what they use to store the rainwater. And then next to it will be several low platforms that would be altars, and the pieces that went on them are all around. So here's one of the sections where you have various carvings of individual gods and glyphs, and then here's another section where you can see these carvings, and these would then be stacked up and put into place, and they're discussing doing that. And then as we finally come back down, this is a view that we took just before we left, but I decided I needed to show you what this looked like if you walked all the way to the front. So if you were directly in front of this, you would see another one of those cylinders like we saw at the very top plaza. And then you would walk up these steps and you would be on that flat space, and then you'd have the main temple of the masks at that point. Then we went back, headed back towards the visitor center. And it's at that point I asked our guide, I understand that there were causeways. And he says, yes, you can see them across the road. They're doing construction. There's nobody there at this time, but just go underneath the rope and take some pictures. It'll be okay. And so I did, and this is the map that I showed you at the beginning. So we saw what is up here at the top, which is the east section. And then here is the center part of the city. And so I was able to get right through in here. Now they have finished restoring this. You can't get up on top of it. And you can see the main temple. And all the rest of this is still under restoration. And this is the causeway that runs down this direction. And that's the portal arch, which I couldn't see from the location I was at. I really wanted to go further in, but that just wasn't an option. So this is where the platform of the causeway is located, and then this is one of the constructions that they've partially finished. And then from where I was standing, this was the view of the great temple, which is higher than any other building in the entire site, not just here but the whole site. And then here's another section of the road that comes in, and there is another piece. There's actually an even further section, a western section as well. If this were fully restored, it would be larger than Chichen Itza. And the reason you have a causeway between Kabah and Uxmal is they were allies frequently. There will be cities that they will not build causeways because they're not always friendly. So it's a really big deal, but it's quite extensive. And anyway, that was our trip to Kabah. And then actually, this is after we finished here. This is when we went to the chocolate factory. So we had a wonderful day seeing Uxmal, Kabah, and the chocolate factory.
Sherry and I hope you enjoyed the tour. Please come by our YouTube channel at Bob Packett, and please subscribe and leave some comments. Thank you very much. I've been doing podcasting on history for over 15 years. I've got over 4,000 shows, and I've done CDs, which of course can be sent out as USBs. So if you would really like to get more on history for free, then come by my website, as you see here, historyaccordingtobob.com, and see what's there. So thank you very much again.